It is July, which means it is time for another very ambitious TBR. Welcome to A Little Bit of Monica. If it's your first time here, welcome to my channel. I'm very excited that you're here because it is time to jump into another month and to go over all the things that I have planned for this month, which, as usual, is more than I even anticipated when I was getting ready to set this up, but it's fine because I have some very exciting things that I'm participating in and just some exciting lists of books that I want to be getting to this month. So let's just jump right into it. I am going to start this kind of in reverse. In my previous TBRs, I typically do my NetGalley arcs last, but I am going to start there because I do think that my NetGalley arcs are going to help me when I get to some of the readathons that I'm participating in this month. So we're going to start off very strong with my NetGalley arcs. I have been putting in a section of my TBR every month to help me get caught up on my backlist of arcs that have been piling up, and I really need to get to them. So I am going month by month and making sure that all the books that are publishing in each month are on my list for that month. And I'm writing down the dates so that I can try to get them in before the official publication date, just so I can be talking about the books when they're released. That doesn't always work, but it is my goal ultimately. So we're starting off with the first books on my list that are being released in July. The first deadline I have for my NetGalley arcs, I have like 3 books that all come out on July 9th. The odds of me getting to all 3 of these before that date are pretty slim because I have a lot of other things I need to get to in this first week of the month anyway, but there are 3 books that I need to get to at some point. The first one is The Day He Never Came Home by Andrew DeYoung. This is a thriller, and from what I recall from the synopsis, I believe there is kind of like a domestic kind of feel here where it is a wife whose husband gets arrested for some criminal activity, and then she realizes that he left her a lake house paid for in cash in only her name, and the police don't know about it. So she is going to like escape to this lake house to figure out her life and decide how to deal with the fact that her husband's a criminal and she didn't know about it. I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be really, really crazy, but I'm excited for this one. And the cover is super pretty, which makes me even more excited. The second book I have coming out on July 9th is Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons. This is a fantasy about dragons. I don't actually remember the rest of the synopsis. I just saw dragons and another really pretty cover, and I said sign me up. And the third one that comes out on July 9th is Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. I just finished reading my first Chuck Tingle at the end of June, and I really, really liked it, so I'm excited to try this one out. I did get the arc kind of late in the game, not too long before the book actually publishes, so I haven't had a lot of time to get to this one, but I am very hopeful. Also, this is going to be our Pyramid Book Club pick for August, and so I can't decide if I want to read it now before the publication date or wait until August and read it for the book club. I mean, regardless, I'm going to be sharing all of my thoughts in our book club Discord, which is linked in the description, but yeah, I can't decide if I'm going to read it this month or next month. I do want to read it before publication, but I don't know. We'll see if it fits in for any of the other things that I need to be reading this month, because I do have quite a few things on my plate, so we shall see how this one's going to work out. Next up on my list, coming out on July 16th, is Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I love Julie Soto's writing. I absolutely loved reading Forget Me Not last year, and so I'm very excited to try this book. I got this one, I think it was Read Now on NetGalley, but I am so eager to get to it, so this one is like pretty high on my priority list because I need to know what I'm missing out by not having read this as soon as I got my hands on it, but I'm excited nonetheless. So it's definitely going on my TBR for this month. And another book that I just got very, very recently, it comes out on July 23rd, and I got this from Poison Pen Press, and this is The Drowning House by Sherry Priest. Based on the synopsis that I read kind of fleetingly, it has 2 things that are absolute sells for me. One, a storm. I love all things weather. I love intense storms, hurricanes, stories about them, everything, okay? I love tornadoes, you name it, I'm there for it. So it has a storm and it has an island setting because it sounds like a storm is going to, like, I don't know, uproot a house or somehow end up on an island, and these people are going to be on an island. Yeah, I am here for both of those things. Absolutely sold. So I'm very excited for this. I don't really know a whole lot else about it, but it's on my list now, so I will be reading this month. And I did get one more arc from Amara, Entangled Romance, and This one doesn't come out quite yet. I think it comes out in August maybe, but it is The Great Dating Bake Off by Livy Hart. And I do want to get to this one as well because I did get this arc relatively recently, and I do try to get a pretty quick turnaround for their books when they send them. So this one's going on my list, and hopefully I can get to that one sooner rather than later, but we shall see how it fits into some of the prompts for the various things that I'm participating in this month, because yeah, who knows how this is going to go. But speaking of prompts and things that I need to be reading for this month, let's get into my activities for the month. The first thing I do want to talk about is the Pyramid Book Club, because we do have a book that we are reading in July, and that is going to be The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. This is her brand new book, and I'm very excited for this because I think I read The Paris Apartment, and I really liked that one. It might be the only book that I've read from her at this point, but I'm excited for it nonetheless. It just came out recently, so I am excited to tackle this one this month and to talk about it again in our Discord, which I will have linked, because I love the Pyramid Book Club and we have some very exciting picks coming up. I didn't put out like a huge announcement video, but just to quickly run through it, we have The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley for July, Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle for August, which I mentioned before, and then the September book is going to be Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca. I am so excited for this book because I love Jen DeLuca's writing. I loved Well Met by her, and also it's about ghosts. So like, yeah, I'm here for it. So that's kind of a quick rundown for Pyramid Book Club coming up, and make sure you're getting your hands on a copy of Midnight Feast so you can join in for our July discussion. And now we are going to move on to the rest of the events that are happening this month. Okay, I need to slow myself down. I feel like I am just going, but these are so much fun and they're so exciting. So like I need to participate in them, but also it's a lot. So we're gonna see how well I can combine prompts for various events here. We are going to start off, this one doesn't happen until the end of the month, but this is a little thing that Lexi and I are doing. We're gonna do like a 24-hour readathon. Lexi's gonna come to my place. We're gonna hang out for 24 hours, try to stay awake the whole time and read as much as we can and just have a good time. I don't exactly know how this is going to look or what books I'm going to be reading for this, but I cannot wait because it's going to be a load of fun. But beyond that, I am participating in 2 readathon events this month. The first one is the month-long readathon that I am taking part in, and that is the Tarot Readathon hosted by Deja and Noelle. And for this one, I decided to join Team Swords because Lexi and Kat are the co-hosts for this team. Basically, with the Tarot Readathon, you're reading books that match prompts based on the tarot card that you pull, and you can pull them like just pull a new card for every book. Every time you finish one, you pull a new card to pick your next book, or you can pull a couple of cards, get a stack of books, and then you can like pick which one you read, in what order you read them. I'm not quite sure how I want to do this for the whole month, but to start off, I did pull my first 3 cards just to get me started for the month, just so I had like a little bit of a springboard to go from. And so my first 3 cards are going to dictate the first 3 books that I read this month. And so the first one is the 4 of Wands. Now the prompt that goes for the 4 of Wands is to read a book that features a celebratory event, like a wedding, a funeral, a birthday party, something along those lines. And honestly, here's the problem. When I go into books, I usually barely know what's happening. I don't typically know if there's going to be a celebratory event until it happens, unless it's in the title. I'm probably not going to know. So this one was a little bit hard for me. However, there's a book that has been on my TBR, my mental TBR, my radar, since I received it in my hands. Okay, since before I received it in my hands, but I haven't had a chance to get to it yet. And I figured that this is the perfect chance because I do know that there is a celebratory event that happens in this book, and it is Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. Butcher and Blackbird is still in my like top 3 books that I've read so far this year, and I read it in January. 6 months later, it is still up there. I can't decide if it's number 1 or number 2, but it is like definitely up there. This is the sequel. It follows 2 other characters, but like we already met these characters in the first book, so I'm very excited to follow this. I have heard incredible things about this one as well, which makes me even more excited. But I do know that this book features a marriage of convenience. So there's going to be a wedding of sorts, which is how I'm going to fit this to the celebratory event prompt. So this is going to be the very first book that I read in July. Like, mark my words, this is the first one that I'm going to read. I need to stop putting it off because I've been so excited to read it, but like, I just keep delaying it. And at this point, I just need to do it. So this is going to be the first one that I read. The second card that I pulled was the Moon card. And for this one, the prompt is to pick a book that explores the supernatural. And I'm gonna be honest, this one was tough just because like I didn't know how I wanted to interpret this. I didn't know where I wanted to go because there's so many different ways that you can see the supernatural and interpretations of just what that means and everything. So like I didn't know what to do. However, there's a couple reasons why I picked the book that I did that I think I want to read this one for. I might switch it out if something else decides to come into my brain, but for now, this is the book that I think I'm going to read for this prompt, and it is Gallow Hill by Darcy Coates. If you've been here for any length of time, you know I am a huge Darcy Coates fan. I absolutely love every single book that I have read from her, and this is another one of those ghosty, supernatural type books, and I simply can't go wrong with her. Plus, her books feel very quick read to me because I love them so much. I love her writing, her style, and like the way that she makes you feel like you're in the story, her environment, and like, oh my god, I love her writing, and I can't wait to read this. And it's been on my list for a very long time to get to, and I just haven't. So I figured this was a good time. This also fits with something else that I'm reading for this month, so it's definitely a good pick, and I can't wait to get to it. And it perfectly fits with the supernatural vibe because Darcy Coates does supernatural so well. And the third card that I pulled is the Two of Swords, and the prompt for this one is a book with multiple POVs. Now, this is another one where I don't really pay attention to this until I am opening the book and finding out how many POVs there are going to be. So this one's a little tricky, especially because a lot of the books that I plan to read this month are on my Kindle, and it's even harder to just like, I can't flip through the pages easily. But I'm fairly certain that one of my arcs is going to count for this. And I think I'm going to go with The Great Dating Fake Off. Now, I think I might have called it Bake Off earlier because my brain can't function, but The Great Dating Fake Off by Livy Hart. This one, I feel very confident in the like romance vibe that there are going to be two POVs, one from the guy and one from the girl. So I'm going to hope that that's the case. When I open up my Kindle and I figure it out, I guess we'll see. But I'm pretty sure that that is going to be okay for this one. If not, it'll be pretty easy to switch based on what books I find, but I think this is going to be the one that I tackle third because pulling the first three, I don't know if I'm going to go necessarily in order. I think I will, but I could reorder them a little bit if I need to, so this one might change just a little bit, but for now we're gonna go with The Great Dating Fake Off and see how that goes. But now the other readathon event that I wanted to talk about that I am participating in is coming up from July 5th to 11th, and that is Summerween. This is hosted by Gabby Reads and is a super fun time. There's always some really fun prompts to be fitting books to, and it's a pretty short-lived readathon, so it's nice to just kind of like fit everything in and go from there. For the 5 prompts that we have for this one, we are supposed to read a book in the dark, read a thriller or horror book, read a book with a night sky on the cover, read a book that has 5 words in the title, and to read a book that has a summer setting. The summer setting one gets me every time because, again, I don't know what happens in my books until I read them, so I don't know when a lot of books are set. So this one's going to be kind of hard to figure out, but I did pick a couple of books that I can put towards some of these. I doubt I'm going to be able to get through 5 books during this period, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get to every single prompt individually, but I do have a couple of books that I can fit in here somewhat. So the first one I want to read, You Know What You Did by Katie Nguyen. I met this author at a book festival back in May, and I'm really excited to read this. It has 5 words in the title. So this one definitely fits that category. It's also a thriller, so it fits that one as well. And honestly, any book I read in the dark can count for that. So I can just turn the lights off and I'll fit that prompt. So like this one's gonna be pretty easy to fit in, and it'll fit multiple prompts, so I'm excited for that. I believe The Great Dating Fake Off may take place in the summer. I'm not totally sure of this one, but it also is a 5-word title. So this one would fit for a couple of different categories as well. So I think that one's gonna be kind of in the mix. But for this month, I am trying to be a little bit more relaxed. I think sometimes I stress myself out of trying to read certain books for certain things, and if I don't get it done, then I panic because I didn't accomplish my goals. And so I'm trying to be a little bit more laid back this month and just let myself flow, let myself read books at a pace that I feel comfortable with. So I'm trying to be a little bit more laid back, but I'm still doing a lot this month, so we're gonna see how this is all going to go, how it's gonna flow. I am really excited for all of July. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's also getting very warm out, so I'm hoping that I can get some time to sit outside, maybe even set up my hammock outside so I can just relax a little bit while still managing my work day. But honestly, it's all very exciting and I cannot wait to get to some of these books. I would love to hear your thoughts on them if you have read them already, or if you are also planning to read them at some point soon. Please let me know. I want to hear all of your thoughts. But with all of that said, that is my TBR. Kind of bare bones at this point. Wait, no, I forgot one, and I forgot one that's like super important. Okay, this one is very important to add to my list because it's part of a series that I've been rereading and annotating, and I haven't annotated in like 4 months, so I really need to jump back into it. But quickly, I would just want to mention that I'm going to be starting Fire Study this month. I am moving pretty slowly through these just because I'm trying to, you know, annotate, and so I'm going to go slower, but I'm going to be starting this one this month. I'm not sure what it'll work for. I'm sure it can work for a prompt at some point, just not sure what that'll be yet, but I did want to mention that I'm going to be starting this one. I already did Poison Study and Magic. Oh, I forgot that I had a cool little like bookmark in it. Okay, anyway, started doing Poison Study and Magic Study, and I've already annotated those. So I'm going to be jumping into this one. And I just wanted to mention that because I love the series and I love this author, and I'm just really excited to be annotating. I've got all my stuff ready for it, so we're going to jump right into that. So that finally, I think, brings me to the end of my TBR for July. It's ambitious, as always, but I'm hopeful that I'm going to end up pulling through. I've been having some really good reading months lately, so I'm excited to see where this month is going to take me. But for now, that's all I've got. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that I will see you in the next one. Bye!